Shabbat Shalom. I know I've said this in the past week with all of the 50th celebrations, but I really want to reiterate how thankful I am that 50 years ago, that initial group of founding families intentionally made a space where children would feel comfortable to learn and to play, and where their parents could feel comfortable that this was a space that kids felt safe learning and playing. So thank you for that this morning. To switch gears a little bit, in the late 19th, early 20th century, the German Jewish theologian Franz Rosenzweig wrote a commentary on modern polytheism. He writes, "Names change, but polytheism continues. Culture, civilization, people, state, nation, race, art, science, economy, and class. Here you have what is certainly an abbreviated and incomplete list of the pantheon of our contemporary gods. Who will deny their existence? No idolater has ever worshipped his idols with greater devotion and faith than displayed by modern man towards his gods. A continual battle has been going on to this very day in the mind of man between the worship of the one and the many. Its outcome is never certain." Rosenzweig names some of these examples of modern idols, and I'm curious if you have some to add. So he says culture, civilization, people, state, nation, race, art, science, economy, and class. What are some other examples, modern examples of objects or ideas that we worship all too often? Money. Money, phones. Pleasure. Right. Pleasure, wealth, power, all of those things. And all of those are these examples, even over a century later than when Rosenzweig was writing, that come to mind immediately. The Torah repeats what seems like endless variations on this same commandment. A couple weeks ago, we heard, "Do not turn to idols or make molten gods for yourself, for I, Adonai, am your God." This week, not in what we read today, but in the general Parsha, "You shall not make idols for yourselves or set up for yourselves carved images or pillars or place figured stones in your land to worship upon, for I, Adonai, am your God." In the Ten Commandments, "You shall not make for yourself a sculptured image or any likeness of what is in heaven or what is in the heavens above or in the earth below or in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them." And there's plenty more throughout the Torah. It is tempting to read these commandments and to brand them as products of an ancient pagan world, but as Rosenzweig laments, idolatry is a real and present danger even today. Each and every day, we have the responsibility to check ourselves for hidden idols, for excess gods. A little bit closer to where we are today, but not quite in modern times, Nechama Leibovitz, the 20th century Israeli commentator, defines idolatry simply as the transformation of means, even perfectly legitimate ones, into ends into themselves. There is nothing wrong with making money, with clinging to an idea, even with enjoying food, clothing, or technology. But devotion becomes dangerous when a person cares more about an object or an idea than that person cares about adherence to God or God's created world. We cling to the idea of materialism, for instance, when we say unnecessarily tied to what some of you mentioned, something like our phones, right, or our wallets. Yes, our phones can be used to perform many different mitzvot, to call our parents, right, the mitzvah of kibud av ve'em, to check in on somebody who's ill, bikur cholim. And yes, our wallets can be used to donate to individuals or organizations in need. And yet, we do not necessarily need to be using our phones or our wallets 7 days a week. It's healthy for us to take a day off for Shabbat. And no matter the day of the week, we do not necessarily need to be glued to our phone to check emails or to do online shopping if our child or our grandchild is begging for our face-to-face attention at that moment. At times, we cling to the idols of our preconceived notions, too, refusing to change our minds when we hear evidence that contradicts us or that makes us viscerally upset. We even cling to human idols when we view our mentors as flawless, either shutting down when they make a mistake or refusing to side with those that they may have hurt. I love that this morning when I asked the question, kind of objects and big ideas came to mind from all of you, and then last night when I asked the question, people came to mind, right? We said celebrities, actors, athletes. Those were the kinds of answers last night. Those can be idols too. Some of us cling to career over compassion or to status over tzedakah. Some of us cling to our own little individual obsessions, whether objects or habits. Those things or those things we do or have upon which we focus, forgetting to take care of ourselves or sometimes even our loved ones. When we zoom our focus onto one object or idea or habit or convenience, we can mix the big picture. We can turn a means into an end and assume that we know better than others, perhaps even that we know better than the creator and the sustainer of us all. As we continue in our Shabbat prayers, and also just into Shabbat in general, the rest of the day, I challenge you to list to yourself any of those ideas, things, or practices to which you know you cling. I think we all have some. Reconsider whether you're making an idol out of a means to a righteous end. And if you are teetering on that edge of idolatry, brainstorm how you can better focus on the good that that means can accomplish for you, for your family, and your world. As difficult as it may be, that how might have to be letting go of the object, practice, or notion, either for a set amount of time or even altogether. Throughout our Torah, our commandment not to build idols repeats itself so often precisely because it is so easy to forget our propensity towards the narrow-mindedness of idolatry. We come here each week, and some of us even pray this 3 times a day, as our Aleinu controversially proclaims, to sweep idolatry away from the land and cut down false idols, to fix the world. L'ha'avir gilulim min ha'aretz v'ha'alilim karot yikaretun l'taken olam. While we are here in this synagogue space, we have the chance to reevaluate our unique propensities, those that might border on idolatry, and reorient them into ways we can engage in that task of tikkun olam, of fixing the world. We can turn our ends back into our means. As we engage in learning and celebrating together here, we have the opportunity to see the bigger picture of Jewish community, of the needs present in our world, our family, and hopefully our relationship with God. Shabbat Shalom.